How can China win the trade war with America? China can either go left or right. It can embrace free market, break down indirect subsidies and policy barriers to fair trade, guarantee rule of law and stronger implementation of intellectual property rights. I think this is a better policy, but at the same time, this is essentially giving into the American demands, and China at this time is way too nationalistic to take that sort of emotional defeat. She would also lose face in a major way from which he would not likely recover. What China is doing now is to be on the defensive under the cover of taking the high road. Trump puts on tariff, China puts on tariff by same amount, complain to WTO, wait for the meaningless WTO ruling, try to convince EU to get on China's side in the trade war, fat chance. There's no vision, and wholly reactionary, waiting for things to blow over. That is not a strategy to win, you will never win like that. At most you can contain the damage, but in the end, you just come out knowing who your daddy is. Essentially, China is doing the same thing Taiwan, Korea, Japan did when they were economically targeted by China itself. It's a behavior taken by a country that thinks it can't win. If China wants to win, they should take some risk. Be on the offensive, preemptively raise tariffs, be the first to put the tariffs on, put tariff on every American goods, identify Chinese export that Americans must have and ban them from export. War had been declared by the enemy, you can go all out, no need to wait to be attacked. Dump U.S. Treasury, command its citizens to boycott American products, stop the export of rare earth metals, and stop granting license to American businesses. Many of these are all measures that China had taken in the past against its neighboring nations. They worked. Hurt the U.S. economy as much as it can as fast as it can, make Americans feel the pain, because right now, Americans are beginning to think trade war is actually good for them. This has a good chance to pressure the Americans to stop their unpopular president. Sometimes, best way to respond to a raise is re-raise. To be fair, the plan could escalate the trade war to a higher level, and it'll be really painful for everyone, but even so, it'll be so painful for everyone that no one will mess with China with trade war again. A win for China in my mind. By making it a protracted trade war. And China will win in the end. US has very strong firepower, both figuratively and literally. But it is not strong enough to overwhelm China and claim victory. As long as China doesn't surrender, there will not be a quick win for America. It will not be an easy and quick win for China, either. US still holds the unquestioned leadership in science and technology. The dollar is still the reserve currency. Oil is still the bread and butter of today's industry. Any countermeasures suggested so far in the media, rare earth export, treasury bond, American companies in China, any of these options will inflict wound on Chinese economy. Struggling for a win in a short term could prove to be futile. Instead, I think the Chinese keep their eyes on the prize. Their country's 2035 goal is to eliminate extreme poverty and become a moderately prosperous socialist country. That entails Chinese economy to be twice the size of the US. In order to get to that 2035 goal, the reform and opening up needs to be further developed, more foreign investment, more Belt and Road, more diverse import-export, more science and technology. By strengthening China's own economy, building up Belt and Road, educating Chinese people and welcoming talents worldwide, China will improve its position bit by bit. At the same time, America is chipping away its own credibility and its own economy. They have $22 trillion in debt. There is no way they'll ever be able to pay back. They'll just raise new debt to pay for old debt and get stuck with higher interest rate, or print more money and risk losing the reserve status sooner. Their current spending is on military, the wall, and the farms. They are spending less and less on R&D and education. It makes for a gloomy future. Their society is also getting more divided day by day. China has 4 times the population of America. Even if Chinese per capita GDP is only half of the US's, the total GDP will be twice as big. China have the largest middle class, 300 million people and growing. Bit by bit, day by day, China will accumulate advantage while the US losing it. There will be a day when America realize that there is no hope for them to win. Then they'll accept reality, treat China as equal and negotiate in a civilized and respectful manner. China is a country, governed by low-educated non-white people. China is a country that is governed by people, that about 70 years ago, was the sick country of the East. This is the real opinion of this administration. How could a backward country like this win a trade war against the mighty USA? This is Trump's opinion and he is not standing alone. China has nothing to argue but accept this opinion from this US administration and just has to defend against further attacks. Trump is surely not winning the war at this moment, and this is the main reason why he is now increasing the amount and the percent of the tariffs. He doesn't care if it becomes a burden for the US people, because in the long run he thinks it will stimulate the local industry again. He thinks that the steel and aluminium industry will restart again, and he thinks that the IT industry will take roots again in the USA and not move out to China. All good arguments for people living in an era 50 years ago. The result of his action is, in the eyes of his followers, super smart, and for many people not informed in the matter, his action has a chance of succeeding. This is at this moment the majority opinion in the USA. The Republican will trust Trump's ideas and the non-partisan groups take the wait-and-see stand, and only the minority of Democrats are crying and shouting. In economical theories of 50 to 60 years ago, of course it is correct. The economical theory of Heckscher Ohlin. Nowadays we are interdependent and the success rate will be very minimal if not a failure. This interdependent makes it that the standard production procedure of a company like Boeing to buy parts from all over the world, incl. China, to assemble their Boeing 777 and their other planes. Not only the airplanes but the car industry and many other industry. Remember the rule, the strength of a chain depends on their weakest link. Well, decide for yourself what the end result could be. Even a small specialized screw could be the weakest link. China is putting pressure to the US food and agricultural industry. They put now tariffs on soybean, and US products is now more expensive than Brazil or Canadian soybeans. Any trader will buy from the cheapest supplier. The soybean harvest starts in September and ends in October. Normally 50% will go to China, so the farmers are still hoping that this trade boycott by China will be over by the end of August. Wheat must be over in August, while corn, sorghum will all be in September. Just follow the market for these products and see who is being hurt by the trade war.